Sorry. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Bread for Soul Convos with myself, Sir LSG. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I wanted to today's show. I've got a producer, somebody who's worked with a lot of different artists in the industry. Some of you might know him, John London. Some of you will know about him today on the show. And I'm very passionate about the people who make the music happen. I'm very much passionate about um, the production of the music, how the music actually comes together. So for me, that's one of my passions with my music. If some of you might know, with my music, I work with a lot of different artists, and I collaborate with a lot of different artists, musicians, producers. So even if the song might come out as Sir LSG, but if you look at the credits of the song, especially with my music, you will find that there's definitely more than just me who worked on the music, and that's an important part of what I do, an important part of the music that I create. But it's also an important part of the music created by many people. So we never get to know who does what in these songs, but when you start learning about the people in the music, I think it opens our minds as well to other work that takes place within the creation of music. And I'm glad this morning to be joined by John London, who has worked with artists like Questa, Busi, Nak Music, Chima Music, Tapsi, Kid X, to name a few. This guy started learning music at the age of 8 and studied at Damelin Bramley Music College, majoring in piano. As if that was not enough. He enrolled for his bachelor's at TUT, majoring in jazz and popular music. So we are talking to somebody who knows exactly what syncopation means and what a dominant seventh chord looks like, or at least sounds like. And I'm honored to have you on the show, John London. How are you, brother? I need to unmute you. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Welcome. How are you?
So, how's it, my brother?
Nah, get sharp, get sharp. Well, Vele Wadikava was the dominant seven. You know your stuff.
I stuff, man. Yeah, I studied jazz and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm quite familiar.
Was I mean, you didn't tell me, but was someone like Pule Makona a lecturer for you?
Hey, that was my lecture actually. I'm Ruta piano, yeah, man. So, yeah, big ups, Bill. I have lots of respect for the guy, man.
I have lots of
He's good.
respect for him too, man. It's amazing how small this world is. But yeah, anyway, welcome, brother. Welcome. Thank you for spending your time with us this morning.
Okay, okay.
So I want to start first with your name, John London. How did you come up with a name like this? And also, I'm interested to know: have you ever wished that you had a different name?
Yeah, showcase, man, because my name, like trainee, in on Sepedi, growing up, I was teased a lot, because people trainee and trainee like the animal. So, but so growing up, it was tough. That's why I wished I had a different name. So, um, but there was a time I think I was in like grade 10 or 11 or so. Um, my neighbor, cousin of my neighbor actually, would pull through the school holidays. He was a producer, Zonani, that's his name. He'd pull through and then he'd ask me to session, play on some of his house beats. Then I'd go every now and then as I'm playing, he'd be like, hey, John London. But he wanted to say John Legend, because John Legend would up here. So he kept making that mistake over and over again until it was stuck with me. And then it was later on when I'm becoming serious on music, and I thought, I'm looking for a name, a name that could sort of sell me as a producer, artist, whatever. And it just came back to me, and that's the name I went with.
Cool. Someone on Facebook has just asked. This is Refilwe Shinta. Have you ever went to London for that matter?
No, I haven't went to London, but to Ireland, which is close enough, you know?
Uh,
Just the name of the party, but yeah,
nice.
it's enough.
Nice, nice, nice. Cool, brother. So your
So,
dad was a multi instrumentalist, and
yeah,
how did that having a parent like that shape your music career?
no, it was everything, man. It was everything because I remember from age of 3, there was always a keyboard guy, so I'd always be fiddling with it, and although it didn't make sense then, but it grown me. Growing up with these instruments really available, at some point in time, you're bound to learn some of these instruments. And my mother as well, she was a gospel singer as well, so I definitely grew up in a musical home, so that played a huge role in me becoming what I am today.
Yeah, and besides, learning from your dad and the influences that can your family brought to you, what other influences like who were you listening to back in those days when before you were a proper musician?
Yeah. Obviously, my earliest influences were church. I grew up playing in church, Salominyani, and my father is actually the one who ushered me into that. I remember there was like one small keyboard cookery, and he'd play the right hand and not just play the bass. Until one day I went up on stage and he didn't come with me. That's from that moment I knew, okay, that means I'm playing alone from me. But that was my earliest influence. And then I was the weird child. Like I was listening to jazz music in primary school, like guys like Jonathan Butler, Diana Krall, yeah, like Jonathan Butler, he's one of my first, the biggest influences.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
that's the
I think I'm glad that you mentioned church because generally I feel that church has a way of training musicians. Even maybe at the
okay.
time when you start, you kind of like don't really realize the training that you're going through. But church has a way
Yeah.
of training performances. There's a lot of unexpected things that happen at church. Like you'll be
Oh,
packed.
bro.
What are some, I mean,
Yeah.
like I want to get some of the your maybe moments that you remember, but I want to get through this point first. So, Gregory Porter, who's a jazz singer, an American jazz singer, who's also a church person, he grew up in the church, and he was saying that, the thing with the church is that you kind of always have to be prepared. Like as a keyboardist, the pastor o kgona go ntsha pina in another key, and you kind of have to you have to quickly get in
No,
there. What
yeah,
are some of
that's
your
part of training.
experiences? Yeah, sorry. What are some of your those experiences for you?
Um, well, there was one. I remember Kolibachum, there was a youth camp. Yeah, but yeah, that was a bad moment, man. Kolibachum, and then youth camp. In between the services, got a break. That's when I was still a kid. I'd go to the stage and just play the keys until one of the chorus leaders, heard me. Was like, "Hey, if I know Dalamna, like, when am I?" But there was a guy playing for the conference initially. And that guy decided, let this young boy play, at this conference. But I had no idea like what this keyboard is. I've never used it, and this is a hall like like hundreds of people, And then the next service, I get on stage, and then I'm supposed to play the whole service. Now I don't know this keyboard. I don't know what's going on. Like the whole praise and worship went by like because I got a single song like properly, and I was embarrassed in front of all those people until the pastor came on stage. He's like, "Hey, Kopela Daman Nagala before this guy, he's killing the whole thing. But yeah, that's one of them.
Sure, sure. I think that's so powerful because we only learn from mistakes, and until you are faced with a situation like that, you will never know how to handle it. And these situations happen all the time throughout your career.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
for sure, for sure. I want to get into so in you graduated from TUT, with majoring in jazz and popular music. What
Yeah, yeah.
impact does formal education have in a career like yours, especially somebody who kind of knew that they might end up doing pop, they might end up doing house music, which might not be necessarily seen as a serious form of music? But what does
Mm.
this formal education bring into your career?
Um, it brings a lot, man. It brings a lot. Definitely, um, professionalism. You know exactly what you're doing. Like once you sit on the piano, you have the theory as well. You're not just playing from um, kind of from memory or whatever, but there's the theory that we're taught at school, like you were mentioning, these major sevens and whatever. You know exactly what they sound like. You know when to apply them, when to omit them. So yeah, it's a whole pool of knowledge, man, that you sort of have an advantage in a way to yeah to stand out.
Sure, sure. And
Yeah,
so in 2016, you worked with Questa on the king of African rap. His
yeah, that's
album.
what he calls himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
rightfully.
Dakar, rightfully
Rightfully.
so, man. He definitely. Um, and you produced that massive hit song "Spirit" featuring Wale, which
Yeah.
we get to unpack in a bit. But how did you hook up with Questa in the first time?
Meeting Questa. Shout out to Chill AMG. That's one of my brothers in the game. There was a point Questa was looking for a band. He was looking for a band, and then Chiro just has a way with people. He knows how to play the game like proper. So I think they called him first, and then he had to put a band together. So I was one of the guys he called up, and then um, what's happening? Yeah, Nireza go baseline. There's a rehearsal space in Joburg called baseline, and then Bukwesta pulled up. Kumala Savannah Interage, he was with TLT, Umakwa, and all these people. And Spirit was actually produced by Makwa. I just played that piano on my cylinder. So they pulled through, and then I met the guys. We rehearsed. After rehearsal, I linked up le Makwa, and then yeah, he played me some of his beats. Where he's going via production, and I thought, yo, this guy's special. This guy's a genius. And then he gave me a call a few weeks later to come through to the studio, and then yeah, that's where Spirit happened.
Sure. Man,
Yeah.
that was a super song, and actually, we will get to the piano part that you played on that song,
Sure.
because I think like we don't realize it. Like if you're a music consumer and you are just listening to the final product, sometimes we don't realize those subtle performances within the production that actually make a difference. Like if I talk to get to one point about Michael Jackson's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." That whole the way Quincy Jones explains the violins. So the way he explains it is like Michael Jackson actually wanted that part out, the part of the strings. He was like, "This is not working for the song." And Quincy Jones, as a producer, he's like, "My man, you don't know what you're talking about." You know what I mean? This ends up now becoming the part that really makes the song, or one of the most important parts in the song. So I want us to get to that piano part later, but
Okay.
if I could just carry on with the flow of the questions of the story, um, from a music production point of view, what exactly do
Mhm.
you do with when you produce for Questa or Nac Music or Tapsi? Like, because I know from a house perspective, but like when you produce something other than house, what exactly do you do for these artists in production?
One of the things I had to do after graduating from TT from jazz school was to unlearn a lot of the information, because jazz is very complex. it's a whole lot of stuff happening. So I had to unlearn a lot of the information, and that took some years. I had to unlearn so that I can now properly um like ke kgone ho feta, like with these guys requests, because their music is very simple in terms of chords and whatsoever. So I try play the simplest of chords, and they are in the business of selling music, so you also have to try and figure out what sounds could sell the song, um yeah, that's mostly what, actually simplifying everything. That I'd say that's the key
Sure,
for me, yeah,
sure.
these days.
And you seem to have to hold a rather special relationship with Nak music. I personally,
Yeah,
I love his work rate, man, and I believe
yeah,
he's
it's
always
a lot,
busy. He's working, right?
big time.
Yeah, yeah. But how did you hook up, and how what kind of relationship do you guys have?
Me and Nat Music are actually friends, like we. It's different with him because I met him my first year coming to Joburg, like after high school. Many people don't know this, but 2009 was when I met Nat Music, and we met at music school. So many people don't know what this guy is vocally trained because they only hear him on the house music he's been doing. But that guy, yeah, his music knowledge is very broad. He's a proper vocalist. Yeah, I was playing for him back then in 2009. Just, Koskolo, fiddling around. And then we lost touch for a couple of years. And then later on, he ringed me up. Things are looking good for me, and I need a music director, and I couldn't think of any other person,
Sure.
Yeah, that's
A-
not music.
And oh man, that's amazing. It's so dope that you can meet other people. Like you can meet someone now, ne? And it does not necessarily mean that you will work with that person right now. Like for
Right now,
for any other reason, because
yeah,
it can happen later, and it doesn't even have to happen. You don't have to work with every musician that you meet, but it's amazing
sure,
that you can meet somebody now and have some kind of relation with him right now, and only
yeah,
get to the work later on in life. And that speaks to one of the things that I hold dear to my heart, and that is respect and humility and just being a nice person, because I think,
yeah.
yeah,
Nothing to do with that. Just be nice, man.
just be nice. Just be nice. Yeah. And what do you love the most about being in studio?
Being serious like magic, man. Like you never know what's gonna happen. You are in studio. You are most of the time you are blank. You don't even have a conceptualized idea of what you're gonna do. So you just sit there and play around with sounds, and then boom, something just happens from that. So that's my favorite thing about being in a studio. Just the magic of it all. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. And then what? There's another studio thing that I want to ask you about. Let me get those things. So with the people that you work with, like especially rappers do this a lot, and I personally cannot do this. So I see pictures and videos of rappers. I've seen AKA do it. I've seen Casper do it, but you guys do
Mm.
it with Questa as well, where you just go into a hotel room. Either it's booked for like a week or whatever the case may be, or you're traveling for whatever, and then you set up a studio in the hotel. Firstly, I don't know how does that work for the neighbors or whoever is sleeping in the other room? Because I imagine that place to be wild. But
Yeah, yeah.
what actually
Lots
happens? What
of
happens?
trouble with noise.
What happens then in that environment
Um,
in a hotel in a hotel studio?
yeah, in a hotel, it's like it's genius that thing, man, because we've realized already when we schedule for sessions, sometimes we can get there and no solid idea comes from that session. But if you're stuck with these people day and night, for like a week or 2 weeks, imagine what's gonna come out of that. That's what happened with album Kirex. We went to Sun City, just to produce that album. It was me, Makwa, Kirex, I think Mota was there, Chego MG. We just locked ourselves, go Sun City, and then great songs came out of that, man. Like Danu Muntu came out from that. Um, and I think Anki was done before, but the whole other bunch of good songs came out of it. For Questa as well, Ketile came out of that session that we did, Kohartis. And Jan Jani, his new single that just dropped now came out from that. And many other songs that are still gonna come out on his upcoming album. So it just works, man. It works. It gives you an opportunity to come up with more ideas, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's why they do it. I think house guys should also look into that, because trust me, bro, like just ban.
I think I will. I'll definitely try that, man. Because
Yeah.
the way what I've seen, I work a lot with Tandin Tuli, who I have on the show this coming Thursday,
Uh,
and the way we work is that sometimes we will have a session set up, and we'll spend an hour or 2 hours catching up, before the session actually happens. And by the time we get into the session, somebody has to go, or some other reason, maybe the time is up, or we don't even get into the flow of things, like you say. So I
yeah,
think,
yeah. You're just getting out from the noise, the city noise, and just going to a place where you won't be disturbed. There won't be wives calling. There won't be none of that. You're just free to make music.
sure, sure, and I think that's powerful, man. I've got another thing here that I hope that you can hear it, but I'm sure you will. I'm gonna play it for you. So it's a note from a friend. So
Okay.
let's listen in.
Yo, good
Yo,
people,
good
what's
people,
good?
what's
Yeah,
good?
Chama
Yeah,
Music
Chama
here.
Music here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Today is John London's day, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys about how I met with John London. I remember, I think it was around year 2014, 15. Let me say it's about 2013, 14, somewhere there. Yeah, the guy had a video posted on YouTube and Facebook about he was actually playing piano and producing a house song there. And I saw this guy and I was like, damn, this guy is good, knowing me, because normally I just like giving props where when someone has worked on something good, I like reaching out and telling them, guy, what you're doing is good. Yeah, and then from there, that's me and John Lennon. That's how we met, and we made a few songs together, and we'll just play piano. I just liked how his touch on piano, and from there, I could see him that he's gonna grow, eventually, because I'm also a patient person, and he's got the patience, and he's open to do almost everything. He explores. So when I saw him now producing different other genres for other big artists and stuff, I just knew that, okay, now the guy is reaching towards exactly what I envisioned of him when he started doing some hip hop beats for the guys and playing piano, performing on stage. I saw him basically living his dream, because that's what he studied at school also, which is music at UT. And you know what, man? I think the guy deserves more props and more recognition, and I feel like he's still gonna work and help a lot of people in the industry perform for them, produce for them, and stuff. I see him growing. In the next few days, I think everyone needs to know John London, the pianist. The musician, the musical genius. He's got quite nice ideas, man. And he's also humble, because I'm also just attracted to humble people. So I stick around people who've got humility. He's got humility, man. Big ups, John London.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's my brother, man.
for sure. You guys worked on you worked you were part of his album, the award-winning album that he produced in I think
Yeah.
2015,
Yeah.
2014. I mean, my most important, well, my favorite clip, or my favorite song that you produced with Chima is I Choose You,
Yeah,
featuring
yo.
Afro
That's a
Traction.
beautiful piece. Yeah.
Beautiful piece. Do you wanna show us the progression for that song, if you don't mind.
That's, yeah, that is the progression.
For sure,
Yeah.
I love that, bro. I love that. Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
the way you guys built it is like, yeah, man.
That's Chima, man. You see, Chima was building songs. He was like, just started the piano, silence, nothing else, and the shakers start kicking in, and the song just builds like that. I think Afro Check-In comes in like after 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I love the
like
long intro.
nice build up of a song.
Mm,
He's a genius, like,
I
big up
mean,
to Chima.
big up to him and big up to you too, bro. You guys are both geniuses, you know.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
I wanna know. Oh yeah, if you can show us the that piano piece that we were talking about from Questa's Spirit.
yeah. So when I got to studio, Marco had already done, the song was almost complete, really. He had played, Marco can't really play keys, but, he managed to come up with that, which was a simple Asper chaser. So, yeah. So what I did was on the same chords, I just played a melody on the same chords. Um, yeah, that was the piano piece that made me famous, man.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful,
after
bro.
that, I got to reply the next day, and everyone was like, "Yo, Farah, that thing you played, everyone is just singing this melody, because it was a beautiful moment for me."
Sure, sure, man.
Yeah.
I love this so much, and I'm sure like for you, okay, let me not assume, but I want to understand from you when you have become part of this song and before the song becomes big, just like you say, when you get to rap life, everybody's giving you props. How is that feeling for you?
Yo, it's like sometimes it's just unbelievable, because these guys are big, man. Like Questa, getting props from such people, it just says a whole lot. It gives you a lot of confidence, you know, and yeah, it can easily get to your head. But yeah, fortunately, I didn't let that through to me. Yeah, I was just humbled, man, by such props, from these guys.
Sure. And bro,
Yeah.
I want to talk about a moment in your life where it was difficult. You were involved in a car accident. I think it was 2016, and
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine, like, just from seeing the pictures, that it was a difficult moment, you know. But how badly hurt were you from that car accident?
Yo, well, it's actually a miracle that I'm alive, because I broke a femur, my left leg. I broke my hip on the right, my lung as well. My lung was punctured, and I had very bad scars on my face. You can see I have like some scars on my face. So that was yeah. I don't know how me and States, because I was with States, one of my closest friends. We were just driving to Mokopani, and next thing we're waking up in the hospital, and yeah, it was yeah, it's hectic.
And I mean,
Okay.
I can imagine like an accident like this, bro. I was in an accident in 2018, 2018, and mine
Yo.
wasn't that hectic to a point where I was not hospitalized, by the accident. But later, a few days later, I found out that my back, was injured and badly injured. So my lower back, I had problems. I experienced problems with sitting for too long. I had to get this chair for a lot of money just to support, like me and working in studio. And the physical part, I think you work on it. You go, you exercise, you go to
Mm,
physio, you do rehab like that, and that can
mm,
always get better. But
sure.
I want to ask you about the mental part of it, bruh. Like mentally,
Mm.
how did this event affect your mind?
Yo, it was hectic, man. Because I think the biggest hit for me was that I just realized that I won't be able to do anything for for the next few months, probably almost a year, because it was about 7 months where I was like out of the game completely, trying to recover. Um, so yeah, I think that was the biggest hit for me mentally, not being able to provide. That was, yeah. But it's not only negatives, that came out of that thing, because with that time I was able to sharpen my production skills, because prior to before that, um, especially working with music guys, I was just known as a session pianist, and then those 7 months gave me time to just sharpen my production skills, and that's around the time where I produced African Queen for Tapsi. So it was during that time where I produced that song. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's only negatives that came out of that thing. Although the event itself was negative. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that so much. And the reason I say this, because I think there's always, regardless of what happens in your life, whether it's negative or whether it's a harsh event, most of the
Mm,
time we are not in control of what can happen to us, in our
mm,
lives, like a car accident or some illnesses. We might not be in control of those things, or losing a loved one. But
mm,
what we are in control of is how we get back, from those things, because it's powerful to, yes, acknowledge that you are injured, you are in an accident, and this is happening to you. You need to get back, but it's also even more powerful to use that as a learning curve. What is it that you can do with this accident? How can it propel you forward? And I use mine
mm.
because I talk about it a lot, and it helps me because I feel like I share with other people what could happen in their lives and how they could deal with their own situations that are not necessarily good situations
Sure.
that they were put in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but are you at all paranoid of being on the road since the accident?
Now I'm fine, but I think for the next year, because the accident happened 20 December 2016. So I probably only started driving like about September, October 2017, which was almost a whole year. But yeah, I was still paranoid until early 2018, where I was a bit better, because yeah, actually that thing, man, like it's yeah, it's yeah. It took a while for me to get over it, but I think I'm fine now, man. I think
Sure.
I've gotten
Nah.
over it.
I'm glad you fine, bruh. And yeah, it is scary. Hey, I also make accident day. Go low. You're like, no, I'll walk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanna know about touring. So you perform with these guys like Questa, but you perform a lot. I know with Knack Music, and he's a busy musician. You do country gigs, you do national gigs.
Yeah.
What does it like during a busy season? Like, what does being on the road look like? from getting from performing this gig, hotel room, being on the road, eating, not sleeping. What are some of the things that are happening when you're on the road and when you're traveling with a performing an on tour artist?
Yeah, a lot happens on the road, man. Like, first of all, sleepless nights, especially in December. From November going into December, our gig guide looks crazy. Almost every day of December. You drive 4 hours to this place to catch an hour flight to that place, get the drive another 4 hours, drive back tomorrow, you flying back. Like it's just like that. So, but it's fun overall, man. We create an environment, that we can have fun. On stage, off stage. Sometimes try even to make music. In between, like when in hotel rooms. Although that's not very successful because the schedule is just too hectic. But yeah, overall, it's fun. I mean, it's what I love doing. So yeah,
Sure. And
mhm.
tell us about the you being on stage. Like, what is like? I want to understand, and I want other people to understand the joys of being a performing musician, and being on stage.
Yeah, um, yeah. Being on stage is electrifying, man, because you're on stage and there's thousands of people just watching you. They're watching and enjoying what you're doing. These people put up for you guys. So it's like it's a dream come true, man. Because as a kid, this is what I used to dream of. I'd attend all these festivals and I'd want to be on those stages. And today I find myself there. So yeah, it's I don't know what better ways to use, but it's extremely fun. It's electrifying. Yeah.
Sure. Um, if we could talk about money for a bit, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I used to hold a view that, man, like, does a musician why would a musician be comfortable with being a musician for another band? Like, I used to have that thought, like, but nah, man, you can do it yourself. Any musician, if you are in a band, you can do it for yourself. But
Mm,
my view changed because I was only thinking about being the front person and making money from that. But you can
mm.
be a band musician and make money from that. So
Yeah,
how
global.
yeah. How do you earn money from the two jobs? If I could start firstly with you as a producer and you producing a
Mm,
song. If you produce a song for Questa, what does the money of that look like? Where does the money come from with regards to that? And similarly, the money from performing, like how does that look like?
mm. Um, well, I can't give you exact figures, but well, I can't give you figures, okay.
Yeah, sure.
But
No, I get what Lois say, Chatlum. But I just want to
yeah,
understand: is it when you produce a song for Questa, right? Like, is it a thing, Yahore? You also get paid royalties. Like, are you part of the publishing? Are you earning in that regard? And when you're performing, are you also earning from a performance fee, or is it like a monthly thing? Like, what kind of deals happen in those situations?
well, it differs, but in my situation is that if I did something with Rap Life or Buquest or whoever, I would then after the work is done, I would then send an invoice, so this is what I feel the work I did is worth, and then they'll pay me for that. And then on top of that, it's royalties always. And you have to discuss splits the moment you're done with a song. You have to discuss splits. So you know how much is allocated to you, how much is allocated to everybody. And it has to be agreed upon with everyone who was working on the song. Otherwise, like go Samro, they put it on dispute.
Damn, sorry, man.
Up to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, royalties. Although royalties pay after a long time. You know that for sure.
Yeah.
They probably pay after between a year and 2 years.
Sure.
So yeah, that's how I generate money. And then with gigs, these gig fees agreed between you and the artist you're working with, or for every gig you're gonna pay me this much, and then it's as simple as that.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, because you mentioned royalties and Sambro, I wanna know, like, you've if you worked on a song like this, right? Let's say you worked on Tapsi's. What's that Tapsi hit that you worked on?
African, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, African Queen.
yeah,
If you working on this song and you producing this song, right, and now you are receiving this money from Samro, like a big song
yeah,
like that, can you put
yeah.
into context, right? Not necessarily for this song, but any a big song like that that's played on a lot of radio stations. Um,
Mm, mm.
what was the first big amount that you received for any big song? Like, let's say you create Cash Focus, yeah, Samro, yeah, Cash Focus. What was the biggest one? Like the first biggest, the first big one, not the biggest one, but the first big one that you received.
I think the first big one was around 15K. That was, yeah, that was the first biggest one I got from royalties. Yeah, it was around 15K.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've obviously went you went above that now because
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you're growing, you're working with a whole lot more people, and the songs are just piling up. So every now and then, somebody surprises you with some good money, and it's money you forgot about. That's the beauty of it. You forgot about this money. You worked on this song 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, this song is giving you like a 15K or. And I was talking to another guy. Obviously, I can't say his name. He's also producing some of the bigger songs already. That man like we talk about over 100K, on royalties, on just royalties, and these other things you're doing on the side. So I think it's decent money.
sure,
It's yeah, it's worth it.
man, it's definitely worth it. But I mean, like, also, I think uh, I started thinking about my royalty money as more of for either reinvesting the money into my current productions, or or saving it for future productions. So I want my royalty money to refinance the music that's gonna come later or
Mm.
now, but one thing I can tell people, that guys, there's nothing like, that feeling when usna chelete, ne, where you have nothing, and then you get in the morning an SMS, cash
So
focus, from
like,
Sambro.
it's like Zagaya Samro knows, for this guy out there, like he knows, and then that's when the money comes. It's always happened like that.
That is
Somehow.
so true. It happens like that for me too.
Like,
Every
like,
time I get to, I gotta, I think there's collusion between Sambro and our banks. Ba wana rona, I gotta walk out there. I gotta walk out there. I gotta yarumu zami.
because
Um,
it's a tough pass through it in, man.
mm,
Like it's not easy at all.
yeah,
We
yeah,
go broke most of the time,
sure,
so
yeah,
we keep fighting.
for sure. And I think it's also powerful that people realize that if you are broke, guys, like, you're not the only one. We also go
Yeah,
broke, like.
especially in times like these, man, like with those lockdown
Mm,
and all that stuff, it's taken a toll on us big time.
big time, bro.
Mm,
And how best would you then advise a musician or somebody who's a musician and would, maybe their own thing is not really popping, for themselves, but they are a good
mm,
musician, they can play keys or any other instrument, and they
mm,
wanna get into, how would you advise them to get into those spaces of performing for someone and performing for a big artist?
Um, yeah, there's not really a formula, sometimes you can call it luck, but I think that the best thing to do for yourself as a musician is to just be open minded, because most musicians, like, we've locked ourselves to certain genres. You find a lot of musicians only go the kerekeng, and they're not doing anything else, like outside of church, or they're just playing jazz. If that's what you want and you're comfortable there, that's fine. But if if you want the if you look at the bigger picture, or if you want to get out there, that's exactly what you should do. Start hooking up with producers. um, I myself used to look down on some producers, just because I felt that I have a better knowledge of music, just because I understand harmony, I can play keys, whatever. But as soon as I got close to these people, like Bumakwa, he probably can't play keys like I do, but that guy is a genius in the studio, And getting close to that guy, I started appreciating them more and wanting to work more with them, understanding how they work, and learning the game from their point of view.
Sure,
So I think, yeah, let's team up. Musicians and producers, we should be working together, and the scar charger, because we all we all hustling. It doesn't make sense for me to sort of charge you to do something when we're in the same space hustling for the same thing. And we know the struggles. The best thing is to just team up, musicians, producers, work together and see the beautiful music that's gonna come out of all this.
sure. No,
Yeah.
I truly respect that, my man. And but I also must say that it doesn't mean that anybody can hit you up. Like I think like when when we take chances, I like to take chances. I always ask. I'm never afraid to ask anyone. Like I'll ask whether they know me or they don't know about me. I will ask if I need help or if I want a collaboration. If I wanna ask for a collaboration, I will always
Mhm.
do that. But I'm
Mm.
also wary because I can. I mean, I can, but I will probably have very small chances of success if I'm gonna approach my biggest inspiration is Gregory Potter to for a collaboration. I'll probably get it, but there's other work that I need to do on my own to get to that level. You know what I mean? To get respected. So it's
Yeah.
important that yes, you can see. Okay, I think John. I mean, me and you. I believe that we can work together. You know what I mean? Like I could do stuff
Okay.
for you. You could do stuff for me without charging each other. But I don't think I
Yeah.
wanna do a remix for somebody who has not put in the work for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Yeah.
For free. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So
I
you're
just
basically saying what levels,
not levels
or
in terms of importance, but levels in terms of work that you've done. I
can
believe
I
that
get
work that we have done is speaks more. It has to speak for you.
okay?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Which
That's what I mean.
one? Yeah.
Sure, but not even in terms of popularity or in terms of
Okay.
do people know you? No, 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 not with that, but only with regards to work done. If you have a history and you can show that you have done this, it's easier for
Yeah.
somebody to say, "Oh, okay, I think I can work with this guy," or like hip hop people say, "I think I can fucks with this guy." uh, I wanna get through one question. Sorry, I couldn't get to a lot of questions, but we guys, we're gonna include this thing in the shows where
Okay.
we see the questions that you're asking in the comments, and we get them onto the show. So there's one person who asked the question, and it's from Sanele Sanza Gumede, and they're
Mm-hmm.
asking, he's saying, "Oh, I haven't been hearing John's music lately. Any EP or album coming this year?"
Yeah, showcase. I'm definitely working on music. Um, Although I must admit, Ori, I was a bit conflicted, within myself. I've worked in so many genres, so many people. So in terms of sound, I was just all over the place. I didn't know exactly where I belong in the game, or what am I gonna do. So I'm still trying to get my music together, because I'm trying to put an honest project out there, that speaks of who I am and all of that. But I'm definitely working on music, and I'm gonna release it. Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated of when I'm dropping something.
Sure, I definitely can't wait for that. I've just sent to
Yeah,
you on your WhatsApp now. If you wanna open it, there's two pictures, and this part of the show, it's another new addition to the show. We're calling it "Explain These Pictures." So if you can just open up your WhatsApp, and I wanna know something. Did you see them? Okay. Did you
yeah,
see
I'm
the pic?
looking at it now.
Okay, cool. So let me show the people what the pictures that I'm talking about. Can you dance, my man, or you just messing with us there?
You
Eh?
know, pictures can make you look cool, man. Pictures can make you look like you can dance, yo. But I can't dance to save my life. But like my friends know, but I like not pie in that department. Yeah, but this was in East London after a night music gig. Um, the pic where there's three of us on the left, that's Buddha. That's one of Nat Music's dancers, you know. On the right, that's another close friend of mine, Kilimanjaro, dope producer as well. Dope producer. So this was after the gig, you know, and we just killed the set and we just having a good time with the crowd now, you know, on the crowd side. So yeah,
I love that. I
that's
love that. Another picture coming through. What is happening in this picture here?
you know, this was one of the sessions we did with Quest in Hartis. So we went to Hartis for a week to work on his album, and that's me and Mark, you know. In between, you know, in between sessions when when you're taking breaks, you know, you just go crazy. We were just on a trance there, Joe. Like we were just taking videos, going crazy like it's a party, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, that's us jumping up there.
Nah, that must have been a dope song that you guys were working on there.
Not have been jumping, you know, and jumping the one that just dropped, man.
Nice,
Obviously.
nice.
Yeah.
So you have worked on a lot of hit records, man. And which piece of work makes you feel like the picture that I've just sent to you now?
I'd say the latest one, man, that I did with Berita, you know, Jikizinto is just, you know, yeah, I feel like it just certified me, you know, as a producer, you know, it went to the top, you know, on some radio stations. So yeah, looking at this picture, yeah, no, I can only think of Jikizinto because we did it in Cape Town by the beach, you know, there's water behind me there, so yeah.
Yeah, no, talking about water, I'm sending you another picture. Please explain now. Tell me, am I right or am I right? This guy cannot swim.
Of course I can't, man. I'm black, brother. Yeah, but that's one of the things, you know. I need to get out of the way. I need to take swimming lessons, and I urge all other black people, you know, let's go for swimming lessons. Ska kgwebo ke metsi.
True, true, true. I remember like one of the earlier episodes that I had with Vinny Da Vinci, and he was telling the story of how he almost drowned in Ibiza because he couldn't swim. So, guys,
Imagine, you
so
know,
let
we
us
have to
get.
fix other people. We have to fix that. You know, water is it's just water, guys.
It's just water, definitely. I think that's actually one of my goals. This year after COVID-19, I wanna learn how
Good,
to
man.
swim, and let's hope I don't drown. And last picture, bruh. I'm gonna leave you to explain this one.
Oh man, that's my grandmother, bro. Like I love her with you know with every bit of my heart. Um, this was a few months after the accident. I was on crutches, you know. And another thing, after the car accident happened, the next day I went to surgery. You know, that's where everyone's like really cheap and fixing up and all of that. And me waking up in the hospital, you know, the first thing I heard was this woman right here praying. You know, I woke up to her voice praying for me, and you know, she's yeah, she has a beautiful heart, man. Yeah. Yeah, she has a beautiful heart. With the least she has, whenever I see her, she'd slip $100, in my hand. I'm thinking I'm probably earning more than she earns, but she does it every single time, with the little money she gets a grant,
Hmm.
she's an amazing woman.
Man, I love that so much.
Sure.
Um, and my last question, brother, or last two questions. If you had the power to influence or change something in the South African music industry,
Mm.
what would you change about our industry?
Um, Actually, I wouldn't change anything, man. I feel we have one of the most broad industries, and the music caters for everyone. There's music for everyone, and our industry is always growing. Even a bad thing leads to a good thing. Like I'll give example, let's Amapiano. When it started, for me, it was a bit trashy. It was all over the place. The Tadaladi piano, when you just click with the mouse and the piano is all over the place. But you look now, how the genre has just matured to what it is, and you can now hear traces of deep house in Amapiano, once Maporisa and Kabza teamed up. So, and because of that, I feel like soulful music is now coming back to the scene, is now dominating the whole industry, So it's like a puzzle, That's the beauty of it, Things lead to other things, and then so yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good with the industry, and yeah, it's what it is.
It is what it is, man. And just lastly, my final question: which legendary producers do you look up to?
um, there is obviously the old cats, There's definitely Quincy Jones, That guy was just a genius, and he went through genders and time, He's been there since the 60s, Aspanalibu, Duke Ellington, and all these old people, up until the ages of now, Michael Jackson and after. And then the younger producers, there's a guy called D Mile. D Mile, producer for Bo Hair, for Bo Lucky Day, Victoria Monet, all these people, I feel like he's revolutionizing the game in the US. He's soulful. I love soulful music, and he's definitely that. And he's fusing beats with live instruments. Live bass. You hear horns. You hear proper strings in his music. So yeah, I definitely look up to that guy right now.
Sure, sure, sure.
Mhm.
Hold
As
up,
young
bro.
as he is.
Yeah. Anyway, Brad, I wanna thank you so much for spending this time and sharing your knowledge and
Mhm.
experiences, Brad.
However, big up to you, man. What you're doing is dope, fit, and sharing knowledge and all of that. Man. I have much respect for you, and thanks for having me on this show.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, and thank
Okay.
you for watching and for tuning in to this show. If I could, oh yeah, and tomorrow I've got legendary producer and DJ Kanyani, and it's my birthday tomorrow. So hey, I'm hoping to turn up a bit on with DJ Kanyani if I can. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Please share the video. Please tag other people who might be keen on watching the video, and let's grow these Bread for Soul convos, guys. And most importantly, let's please remember to always be creative. Peace out.